everyone. This is Sharon with Entelechy Visions, and this is an energy update for the week of December 21st through December 27th. So we have a lot going on this week. So we'll see how much we can fit into this update because there is quite a bit to cover. We have just moved through last week's powerful total solar eclipse that felt a bit like a big swiping or wiping clean of the old, a dissolving that really needed time for integration and reset as we move through all the layers of our being and allowing that to really take shape. So you may have felt rather extra tired or exhausted around the eclipse point, which happened on the 14th last week. And you may have felt also a giant pause that took place following the eclipse immediately. And it was a bit like I saw that wiping clean as the alignment took place and it blocked out the sun's light, and it was only visible in certain parts of the world. But as that took place and that blackness was covering the entire sun, it was like that wiping or that cleaning of the old was taking place within that moment, that swoosh or dissolving of everything that took place prior to that point. And then it is a new point moving forward. So it's a very definitive marking spot between the old and the new, and not just this year and the next, but quite a bit. This is kind of an era-long journey. This is a huge moment. This week we are entering is a massive, massive historical period that we are moving through, and I'll get more into that. As we integrate this past eclipse and we move through this pretty enormous new beginning for our lives, we are integrating all that came before. And we are also reassessing the lessons that we have moved throughout this year, and maybe some of that grunt work, that grueling task that we have had to move towards and really chip away at throughout the course of the entire year. And maybe some delays and things that haven't quite worked out the way that we have wanted to, and some patience that was needed throughout that entire process. This is kind of resurfaced throughout this entire eclipse season, shining a light on maybe one or more areas that this has really had you moving through with these lessons. And so this is coming up even more so, and it's having us get very clear about either our own truth surrounding it or our own patience regarding the lessons of growth that we have moved throughout that. So really being patient, especially this week, with any tests that pop up around these alignments, and maybe allowing yourself the room to get in touch and connect with your own sense of mastery surrounding that. So if you're having some impatience emerging surrounding these lessons of growth, or this area that is feeling as though it's continuing to test you on some level, know that this is coming back up to resurface, to shine a light on how much you've changed and how you may be adapting to it differently, or you may be addressing it differently, or maybe you are not as triggered as you were before you had moved through all of these lessons of growth, all of these areas that have really tested you with this. So this is an opportunity to shine a light on who you are now and how you're facing this quite differently. And you may be tempted to maybe react in old ways or to be triggered in a way that you used to be. but to really settle into the side of yourself that has mastered that. To remind yourself that you have risen above that old testing and triggering of that area of life. So that is a piece of what we've been moving through with the last eclipse. And it's also setting the stage to open up a brand new cycle as the new year begins. So as we complete the remaining parts of this month, I know it can feel as though this year is just going on forever, and it can feel as though maybe time has slowed down as we finish up these last couple weeks. But know this is a big preparation period. This is a huge integration that is setting us up for some very new and big roles. Because the next piece of this is a huge alignment that is taking place this week on the Winter Solstice. And I've been speaking about this in the last couple updates, but I wanted to dive deeper into what this truly means for us all. The particular alignment that's going to be taking place on the winter solstice on the 21st is the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. It is also called the Great Conjunction and is defined as these two planets meeting in the sky in the sign of Aquarius. The sign of Aquarius is very much about the new world, the new era. It is the innovator. It is the revolutionary. It is also a new dawn and a new way for the entirety of the planet. So this particular alignment is going to be seen in the sky on the 21st and even through the Christmas holiday. So some are calling it the Christmas star because you'll see it as this bright star in the sky, which that in and of itself is such a beautiful sign of hope and potential and the creations of what we can really birth in the new year and the years ahead of us. This is marking a huge moment in our history. And just to kind of break down the historical impact of this all, that this has not occurred, this particular alignment, for quite some time. So this has us setting up the next decade ahead and also the next 200-year cycle. And the last 200 years that we have already moved through have been very much about the self, have been very much about the top-down, the capitalism, the patriarchy, the industrialism, really shaping the world in a way that was much about resources and gaining materialism, success for the self instead of for the collective, or a idea of supporting the whole. It was more about how much someone can build their own success, how much a company or a government system can build their own success, rather than thinking and acting for the whole. And that is the last 200 years that we have been moving through. So this particular alignment is marking the next 200-year cycle that will be shifting us out of those very themes. And it is all across the board. It is shifting the themes throughout how we operate in every single aspect of our world. And this has had us moving through, just to get a little heady on you, a certain element of earth. So the alignments that have taken place over the last 200 years have been in an earth element. And that had us very much about our resources, material goods, as I was saying. Now it will shift into more of an air element. And that has us focusing more on a quickness, a quickening of energy, and really shaping kind of a higher vision When you think of the quality, the element of air, it can be very unpredictable, kind of like turbulent winds, or the quality of wind itself, of how it can be just all over the place. So things will be very, very quick over the next 200 years. That changes will occur with quite an enormous speed. So this will be part of an acceleration for the entire planet in every aspect of how we run. And so this can affect things such as our systems, the economy, government, finances, as I said, food, all kinds of things. And not to get too much into that minutia of it, but just to show the impact and the effect and the power of what we're actually entering into with this particular alignment. So there's a lot of buzz around this, and notably so, because this is pretty massive, this shift that we are entering. And this is the age of Aquarius that we are moving into. This is the birth of a new consciousness. This is the official beginning and rise of Christ consciousness on the planet. Christ consciousness not necessarily being religious. It is more about a conscious, elevated, high vibrational conscious state for humanity. So this is enormous on so many levels that it's hard to really fit this into one video for this week. But I'll be touching on this as the months pan out, as next year pans out, because this will really be shaping the theme, not just for next year, but for a while. So this is very pivotal. This is a portal that we are entering into with the solstice. And it's coupled with the winter solstice already, so it holds an accelerated impact with that, because the solstice is already a powerful time of year. It is the change, or the official change of the season. It is the winter beginning. And it is also an alignment with the galactic center of the universe. The Earth aligns with the center of the universe. So much is amplified around this time of year. Much takes shape around this time of year already. So just to kind of move into this a little bit deeper, this is a time where you may feel very scattered. This is a time where you may feel very amped, as you may feel the energy as this message is coming through for this update. It is very fueled and fiery right now. So things are already beginning to propel forward, and the solstice point is being talked about as almost a crescendo to the entire year of 2020, that epic peak point to cap off this entire year. So the energy will continue to escalate, and it will reach that peak pivotal moment on the solstice. And that is the dawning of this new era for our lives and in the world. And this is shaping a gateway that we are walking through, that all of humanity is walking through. And if you are sensitive, you may feel that shift take place. Some people won't feel anything on that day, but if you're tuned into it, you may feel quite a difference as we move through that gateway. So there's a lot that will be unfolding. And know that this massive birth that we are entering into, that December has been all about, this birthing of this new world, is very much like the symbolism of bringing a new baby home. So the birth has happened, but then there needs to be an integration, a shifting as the new baby is now part of your world. Many different things need to change within the home, within schedules, within how you conduct your lives, compromises that need to take place. So things are going to occur as this new birth is happening. There is also an element of things shifting, things changing, dismantling. The crumbling of the old will continue to happen because there is this uprising and acceleration of this new era that is coming in quite powerfully. And so you may find that the crumbling of the old picks up speed. So more begins to reveal itself, or more is shown of the behind the scenes. I'm seeing a vision of the wizard behind the curtain. So kind of like the truth is shown, and we need to see that in order for the changes to take place, for us to begin to develop new systems and new creations for how we would like to move forward in a new way now that the old is shedding and being released and shifting. And know that the old is deeply embedded into every single structure and system of our world. So it will take time for each system, structure, and all of how we run things to shift. So that is why this is setting the stage, setting the foundation for the next 200 years, because this is going to catalyze that growth in all of those areas. It is going to catalyze that growth, especially over the next decade. So we will see an enormous amount of change over the next decade that we haven't seen in the last maybe 100 years. So we're in for quite a ride, but no, we are always taken care of. We are always given what we need, and you are here for this really, really amazing moment and this dawning of a new age. And how awesome is that you showed up for this, that you chose to be here at this time, to be part of this. So we do also have the holiday this week. And if you do celebrate the holiday, I know that this year is quite different with how we are celebrating. So I do wish you a happy holiday. And I know that it's a different approach to things this year, but know that we are also in that integration. We are also in that healing space. So it is set up in a way that it is beneficial to us to move through kind of a quieter holiday season, so we can continue to move through these powerful alignments, these powerful integrations that we are moving through, and to take the time to really transform from them and allow them to take shape in our worlds and in our lives. So I want to share with you the channeled message for this week, and just to offer that element of celebration of what we're truly moving through with this particular alignment this week, and how huge this is for all of us. Herald call, the time is nigh. We greet you on wings of angels and the whimsical songs of celebration, as an era completes and one begins to unfold. This is a grand moment in humanity's journey, not just a chapter closing, but an entire book completing. And you are the creators of how the next book will be written. The pages unfold, and you are the ones who have signed up for this to tell a new story. How honorable, how magnificent, and how rewarding that your choice to be here at this time is all intersecting and revealing in this moment. We applaud. We stand tall with you. Rise, 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 dear leaders of the light. Hear your call and follow this to be the song of the new world. Your time is now. So I leave you with that message for the week. If you need additional support at this time, I have my remote services and in-person sessions. You can learn more about them at entelechyvisions.com. I hope that you have a wonderful holiday and a wonderful week ahead and solstice, and I thank you for listening.